Are turning our focus now to Minnesota and Representative Ilhan Omar, who's issuing a bunch of demands to the Trump administration and accusing them of inappropriate behavior for their aggressive actions against the Somali community in Minneapolis. In a couple of angry letters to the Department of Homeland Security, the Congresswoman claiming that the recent flood of ICE agents into Minnesota comes as a direct result of what she calls President Trump's racist comments about both her and the entire Somali community. She also says that local officials have proof that there's been blatant racial profiling and unnecessary use of force taking place, claiming those actions are more befitting of a social media blitz than legitimate law enforcement efforts. Omar goes on to demand answers from Team Trump on behalf of her constituents, arguing their constitutional rights are being violated on a daily basis. Also asking DHS to release all relevant information concerning the ICE operation, including the number of people arrested, its estimated cost to taxpayers, and why the department is potentially removing temporary protected status for hundreds of Somali refugees. The Congresswoman says she can't imagine a clearer example of waste, fraud, and abuse than what ICE leadership has unleashed on the Twin Cities. Now, I'm just thinking out loud, but doesn't that billion-dollar fraud scheme kind of qualify as fraud and abuse? Congresswoman, hello? Waiting. Additionally, Omar is claiming that federal agents have taken their harassment a step further by pulling over her son, asking him for proof of citizenship. She says that over the weekend, ICE stopped her son when he made a trip to Target. Fortunately, he had his U.S. passport with him, and that eventually they let him go. She also claims the incident backs up her claim of racial profiling and that previously ICE agents entered a mosque where both she and her son were praying, looking for illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, in related news, the House Oversight Committee ramping up their probe of Governor Tim Walz. Republican lawmakers say revelations concerning both the scale and scope of Minnesota's welfare fraud schemes are so enormous that they represent either total incompetence or complete dereliction of duty. That's a double whammy. They all say that they find it difficult to believe that Walz and his team had no idea what was going on and that they plan on leaving no stone unturned in their investigation. It all sounds like fun, or something like it. And final thought. This is the News Roundup Lowdown. It seems to me that Ilhan Omar is trying once again to deflect, change the subject, turn her and others into victims, and then go on the attack against the Trump administration. That's a goofy strategy. Hey, 47 is acting on intel which suggests that portions of the Somali community in Minnesota are taking part in gang violence, fraud, and more, then deploying ICE personnel to that state, to that region, to investigate, detain when necessary, and if legal, deport certain individuals, then he'll do so. It's his job. ICE agents in her community, they should be the last thing she's concerned about right now. And instead, perhaps she should focus her deep care and concern on all the taxpayers who are now on the hook for millions and millions of dollars worth of fraud, which occurred in her district and on her watch. That Omar is concerned about what she calls ICE-related waste, fraud, and abuse, mildly humorous. Has all the makings of a low-rent sitcom produced for a public access cable TV station in a small town, somewhere in middle America. Her focus right now, it should be on the actual fraud. More deflection. Her son was involved in a traffic stop and nothing happened. Keep trying. Also, this programming note, America, quit picking on Timbo. The Timmer, Tim Walz. People have left comments for us here stating that Brother Walz was a failed candidate for vice president of the United States. And that's actually kind of accurate. But long before that epic failure, he was already a failed governor of the state of Minnesota. So take that, America. And producer Davey, this is the gift that just keeps on giving. You feel me? What are you thinking about this?
It looks like Omar's trying to fight back on behalf of her people as best she can, but it doesn't look like her complaints are going to do anything to stop what's happening in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's beyond the pale. Save your state, Minnesota. The governor and the congresswoman should immediately exit stage left and allow new leadership to get that state right back on track. This has been going on for far too long.